What's up, YouTube? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about Jalen Mckinzie, offensive lineman out of USC. So first off, he's 6'5" and 315 pounds. So size-wise, he's pretty ideal for an offensive lineman. I see him as mostly a tackle. There are some issues. We'll get into that. But there are some things you like. Some more things physically. He's 6'5", so his length is good. His arms are fairly long. I wish he could use them a little more effectively, but we'll get into that. He works pretty well with double teams, I'd say. He works just really well within the offense. He is pretty good at, listening to the center and stuff like that, and he handles gap exchanges fairly effectively. Let's see. When his hands do get inside, it looks really good. He doesn't seem to be lacking power too much. I wouldn't call him super powerful, but he seems to have enough power. And when his hands do get inside, it looks pretty good, but definitely some consistency errors there. He can move a little bit. Like, he's got a little bit of athleticism. He can climb. He can do a little bit of pulls. He can get into... He's a pretty good zone run guy. There's some errors there, too. We'll get into it. I want to get to the positives first. When he does slip up, he seems to have an ability to recover fairly well because he's pretty strong. He does seem to have a pretty good idea of who to block. So that's good. And yeah, I mentioned that his power is good, but not great. Okay, so some of the negatives. The big thing is his hands. I don't like them. He misses with his hands a lot. He doesn't really seem to have an idea of what to do with his hands. He has a tendency to kind of just try to hug people, and he puts his hands around them and gets them on their back a little bit more than I would like. And he kind of just seems content with wherever his hands lay. Sometimes they get on the shoulder pads, the waist, the back, but when they do get inside, he looks really good. He just needs to be taught to do that on a regular basis. And also I mentioned the zone runs. That's a big thing with him too. The issue again surfaces itself as he misses in open space too. He misses with his hands regardless of where he's at. So that's something that I really want to see him work on. And I mentioned that he does seem to know who to block. But again, he just seems to miss a little more than I would like. But I do see him primarily as a tackle because he does seem to have a good idea of who to block. His feet look okay for his size. He can move fairly effectively. It's just he's got to stop missing with his hands. And you missing with your hands doesn't help by moving you to guard. That's an error that's going to be there regardless, but I don't think he's necessarily the strongest person in the world, so I don't want him playing against D tackles. I think he does match up better against edge rushers. And regardless, you got to have your hands have to be consistent regardless of what offensive line position you're playing. So hopefully he can get with a decent offensive line coach that can really help him with that, because like I said, when his hands do get inside, it looks good. He's got long arms, and when he gets his hands inside, it's pretty hard for someone to get their hands on him. But he just needs to learn to do it more consistently, because he really just lets people get to his chest, and that's a problem. He has a big tendency to not punch and not be first, and just kind of let them come in and he just kind of catches them. I'm not a fan of that, especially because he does have long arms. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, appreciate hitting that like button. If you have any questions or comments, leave the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.